There is a hidden battlefield most never speak of, where intentions are cloaked and hearts are hunted. In this dark exchange, straight narcissistic men move with calculated precision, seeking out gay men not for love, not for connection, but for supply. What makes this deception so dangerous is not just the betrayal, but the way it feeds on hope, identity, and trust. If you want to understand how manipulation disguises itself as acceptance, how trust is twisted into control, and how you can protect your soul from this predatory cycle, then listen closely, because silence will not save you. When someone approaches you, the first thing you notice is not what they say, but the energy they carry. A smile, a soft laugh, a curious tilt of the head. It seems harmless, even welcoming. This is how the mask of curiosity is worn. It is never presented with force. It is never shown with aggression. Instead, it is carefully painted with the colors of interest, of intrigue, of a willingness to understand you. You see it, and for a moment you believe you are seen, you are heard, you are valued. But what you do not realize is that curiosity here is not born from respect. It is not genuine. It is a carefully forged tool, crafted to open the door to your trust. This mask operates like a key. It is designed to bypass your natural defenses. You have lived in a world where judgment is often heavy, where people carry assumptions about you without ever truly knowing your heart. So when someone comes and says, "Tell me about yourself," it feels refreshing. When they lean in and whisper, "I've always wondered what it's like," it feels as if they are being open, vulnerable, maybe even brave. You think you are entering into a conversation of exchange, of mutual sharing. But you are not. You are stepping into a trap disguised as curiosity. The mask of curiosity carries within it an unspoken promise: I am safe with you. And because you long for safety, you give it. Because you long for connection, you open the door wider. And once the door is open, they step inside, not to stay, not to build, but to collect. To collect your stories, your insecurities, your desires, your boundaries, and your wounds. Every question that seems innocent: do you ever feel lonely? What kind of people do you trust? Do you wish you could be more open with others? Is not an inquiry but an extraction. They are mapping you piece by piece to learn where to push and where to pull. What makes this mask so dangerous is how convincing it is. The human heart wants to believe in sincerity. We are wired to trust, because without trust, no bond can form. They exploit this wiring. They tilt their head at the right time, lower their voice at the right moment, and place a hand on your shoulder as if to say, "You are safe with me." Yet behind the softness, there is no care. Behind the eyes, there is no warmth. There is only calculation. It begins with fascination. They will act as though you are teaching them something new, as if your life, your experience, your feelings are treasures they have never seen. They will nod, smile, and encourage you to share more. And in those moments, you will feel a glow. You will think, finally, someone who wants to know me for who I am. But it is not you they want to know. It is your weakness they want to identify. It is your longing they want to hold in their hands. This is not curiosity, it is surveillance. Imagine a thief walking through a house, admiring the paintings on the wall, complimenting the architecture, commenting on the beauty of the furniture. It looks like appreciation, but what they are really doing is marking the valuables, studying the locks, calculating how to enter again. That is the mask of curiosity. And when the house belongs to your heart, the danger becomes unbearable. Have you noticed how they never reveal too much of themselves in these conversations? They keep the light on you, as if your world is more interesting, as if your story is all that matters. And at first, this feels flattering. You think they truly want to know me. But in truth, it is a strategy. The less they reveal about themselves, the more you reveal about yourself, and the more you reveal, the more power they hold. The mask works because it plays into your hunger. Every soul desires to be recognized without judgment. Every soul longs to be seen beyond labels. So when someone shows up wearing this mask, it feels like water to the thirsty. You drink deeply, unaware that the well has been poisoned. Their curiosity is not about learning who you are. It is about finding out how you can be used, how you can be kept close until you are no longer needed. In time, you begin to notice small cracks. Perhaps their questions are repeated, as if they are testing the consistency of your answers. Perhaps they laugh too quickly, or their eyes drift in a way that feels detached even when their words are warm. You sense something is off, but because you want to believe, you dismiss it. You silence the alarm ringing within you because the mask is convincing, and you do not want to believe that someone would go to such lengths just to deceive. The truth is that the mask of curiosity is one of the most dangerous tools of manipulation because it feels like care. It feels like acceptance, and in a world where true acceptance can be rare, it becomes addictive. The very thing you crave most genuine understanding is turned against you. They wear curiosity like a costume, stepping into the role of someone eager to learn, eager to grow, eager to connect. But behind the curtain, they are only measuring how much of yourself you are willing to hand over. When you sit across from someone who wears this mask, it is not just a conversation. It is a performance. Every smile is rehearsed, every question calculated, every pause purposeful. And because you are genuine, you assume they are too, but you must learn to see beyond the mask, because curiosity without sincerity is not curiosity at all. It is hunger, it is appetite, and when that appetite is directed at you, it is not seeking to know you, but to consume you. The mask of curiosity is not about learning who you are, it is about learning how to use who you are. It is not about connection, it is about extraction. And until you recognize the difference, you will always be at risk of mistaking performance for presence. That is the way the mask works. It flatters you, disarms you, and before you realize what is happening, it has already taken from you the very thing you thought it was protecting. And once they have studied you through that disguise of curiosity, the next step begins the quiet targeting of your vulnerability. Because curiosity alone does not satisfy them. It only prepares the ground. The real harvest begins when they sense where your wounds lie, when they realize the places in your heart that still ache, the corners of your life where you feel unseen or unworthy. Vulnerability is not something you display carelessly. It slips out in the small details, in the pauses between your sentences, in the way your voice shifts when you speak of loneliness or disappointment. They listen not with compassion but with calculation. Think of how delicate it feels when you admit something deeply personal. You might confess that sometimes you feel isolated, that trust has always been difficult, or that you carry scars from past rejection. To share this is to take off your armor, believing the one in front of you is safe enough to see you unprotected. But for them, this moment is not sacred. It is opportunity. Where you see connection, they see leverage. Where you see openness, they see access. Your honesty becomes the map of their strategy, and this is why the exploitation of vulnerability cuts deeper than any mask, because it does not just involve deception, it involves betrayal of trust. You give them your truth, and they turn it into a weapon. They will remember the exact phrases you used when you spoke of your doubts, and later, they will mirror them back at you to keep you bound. If you said, "Sometimes I feel like I'm not enough," they will echo that silence in your weakest moments, withholding just enough affirmation to keep you craving their approval. If you said, "I just want someone who sees me," they will look at you intensely in a way that convinces you they do, while secretly rehearsing when to withdraw that gaze to destabilize you. The tragedy here is that vulnerability is supposed to be the pathway to intimacy. It is supposed to be the bridge between two souls, the space where authenticity builds connection. But in their hands it becomes a trap. They do not admire your honesty, they catalog it. They do not nurture your openness, they exploit it. and the very thing that should bring healing instead becomes the opening. Deeper wounding. Notice how they never target your strength. They are not drawn to the parts of you that are solid, clear, and self-assured. They circle around the softer places, the unsettled emotions, the hunger for belonging, because this is where supply flows most abundantly. When you are unsure of yourself, you become easier to control. When you crave validation, you become easier to keep hooked. They exploit not by force but by precision, like a hunter who knows exactly where the prey is weakest. And it is in this precision that the cycle deepens, because what began as curiosity now transforms into control. Your stories, your needs, your desires once shared openly become the very chains they use to keep you bound. And the more you give, the tighter the hold becomes. And when control has been established through the cracks of your openness, the rhythm of the cycle begins. Is a pattern so deceptive that at first you cannot see it because it disguises itself as connection? The cycle of supply and abandonment is the heartbeat of their game. They draw from you when you are full of hope, and they vanish when you are emptied out. This pattern is not accidental, it is their design, their way of feeding without ever committing, their way of owning without ever belonging. At the start, you feel elevated. They pour attention into you, reflect your words back, make you believe you are special. You feel chosen. They make you laugh. They study your preferences. They give you fragments of themselves that feel intimate. And because they have already mapped your vulnerabilities, they know exactly what tone, what gesture, what affirmation will make you feel seen. In those moments, you believe the connection is real. You think perhaps you have finally found someone who is present, who understands, but what you are experiencing is not love, not care, but extraction. Every smile, every glance, every compliment is a transaction. You provide them with admiration, trust, and emotional energy, and in return, they give you enough illusion to keep you engaged. Then comes the withdrawal. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, they step back. The warmth cools, the curiosity fades, the affirmations are withheld. You feel the sudden emptiness where their attention once was, and confusion grows within you. You wonder if you did something wrong, if you were too open, too needy, too much. The very insecurities you once revealed are now awakened. You chase, you try harder, you give more of yourself, hoping to bring back the version of them you first met. And it is in this phase that they feed the most, because your desperation, your reaching, your longing become pure supply. This is the cruel rhythm. Fill you with hope, starve you with silence, give you the illusion of intimacy, then rip it away so that you seek it all the more. It is not the connection itself that sustains them, it is your reaction to its absence. They thrive on the highs and lows, push and pull, the rise and fall of your emotions. And just when you begin to break, just when you tell yourself you will walk away, they return with another mask of curiosity, another touch of attention, another promise of closeness. And the cycle begins again, only tighter, only deeper. What you must understand is that abandonment is not the end for them, it is the reset. It is how they ensure your supply does not run dry. By withdrawing, they create hunger in you, and when they return, you give even more. Each round of the cycle costs you pieces of your spirit, while enriching theirs with the very essence of your being. And the deeper you sink into this rhythm, the more it begins to feel like normality. You start measuring love not by consistency, but by the intensity of their return. You begin to confuse absence with proof of value, as if their silence means you must work harder to deserve them. This is how the cycle enslaves you by conditioning your heart to accept chaos as connection and instability as passion. They are not building a bond with you. They are training you to equate pain with closeness and abandonment with love. Think about how this conditioning unfolds. The first withdrawal shocks you. It feels unbearable, but when they return, the relief floods you so deeply that it overshadows the pain. That relief becomes addictive. You crave the reunion more than you resist the absence. And so, when it happens again, you no longer fight as much, you adapt. This is how you are taught to tolerate the intolerable. They do not need chains to bind you. They use your own longing as the leash. What makes this cycle especially cruel is its unpredictability. They do not leave at the same time nor return in the same way. One day they might flood you with attention, only to disappear the next without warning. Another time they may slowly distance themselves, offering just enough crumbs to keep you guessing. This unpredictability is deliberate. It keeps your nervous system on edge, always alert, always waiting for the next shift. And when you live in this constant state of uncertainty, your energy is consumed not by growth, not by joy, but by survival. The truth is, they never intended to stay. Their goal was never permanence but possession. They take what they need: your admiration, your validation, your emotional fuel, and then they leave, only to return when the hunger rises again. In their world, you are not a partner, not a companion, but a reservoir to be tapped whenever their thirst demands it. And yet, because of the mask they wear and the vulnerabilities they exploit, you believe you are in a relationship. But what you are truly in is a cycle, a loop designed to drain you while sustaining them. It is easy to mistake the intensity of this cycle for love. The highs are so high, the lows so low, that your emotions begin to feel alive in a way they never have before. But intensity is not intimacy, passion is not presence, and craving is not connection. These are the illusions the cycle plants in your mind, and by the time you realize it, you are already giving more of yourself than you ever intended. The supply and abandonment loop is not accidental, it is engineered. It takes everything you revealed through your vulnerability, everything they learned through their false curiosity, and uses it against you. It is the closing of the trap, the tightening of the rope, the final proof that what you thought was care was nothing more than consumption. And when that rope has tightened enough, when the cycle has repeated itself until you no longer recognize where it begins or ends, the most devastating part unfolds not in the visible exchanges, not in the moments of presence or absence, but in the silence left inside you. This is the damage no one else sees, the fracture that does not bleed but lingers. Like a shadow, it is not loud, it is not dramatic, yet it changes the way you look at yourself, the way you trust, the way you dare to open your heart again. The silent psychological damage begins with confusion. You replay conversations, moments, and gestures in your mind, trying to make sense of what was real and what was performance. Every memory becomes blurred, and in that blurring, you lose a sense of your own judgment. If you cannot tell truth from deception, you begin to doubt yourself. And once you doubt yourself, you lose the very compass that was meant to guide you out. This is why the silence is so dangerous. It eats away at your certainty until you no longer trust even your own instincts. Then comes the erosion of worth. Because you gave so much and received so little, because you poured yourself out and were left empty, you begin to believe that perhaps you were the problem. You tell yourself, if I had been stronger, if I had been less needy, if I had been more patient, maybe they would have stayed. What you fail to see is that their leaving was never about your inadequacy, it was about their hunger. But the cycle has trained you to turn the knife inward, to question your value, to carry blame that was never yours to hold. The silence also changes how you approach intimacy. Vulnerability, once a bridge, now feels like a battlefield. You hesitate to open up again, fearing that every new listener carries a mask. Every smile hides calculation. Every touch is just the beginning of another cycle. In this way, the damage extends beyond the one who harmed you. It seeps into your future, shaping how you love, how you trust, how you stand in the presence of others. It robs you of the freedom to be fully yourself, because a part of you remains guarded, always scanning for the next betrayal. And perhaps the heaviest wound of all is the silence of shame. You do not shout about what happened. You do not declare the ways you were used. Instead, you bury it, convincing yourself that others would not understand, that they would see your pain and weakness, that they would ask why you stayed. This silence isolates you, trapping you in a prison of unspoken grief. And while the outside world may see you smiling, inside, the scars remain, invisible yet unrelenting. This is the legacy of their mask, their exploitation, their cycle. The damage you... Not always the loss of them, but the loss of pieces of yourself you gave away in the hope that what they offered was real. And long after they are gone, that damage lingers, teaching you that the greatest battles are not always fought outside, but within the silent chambers of your own heart.